are you?
I'm Dr. Paul Smith. I'll be conducting your psych eval today.
Oh, great. Another shrink.
Well, this is a weird start. Why are you talking like that?
This is my voice. My totally normal voice.
Is it, though?
I'm Batman.
No, Nope.
Where's Rachel?
Okay, well, I'm gonna show you a series of images, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're the Sling Blade guy now.
Billy Bob! Taters.
Oh my god. Okay, let's just begin.
A fat chimpanzee fighting a chihuahua. I was bullied. Ugh, pineapple on pizza. A human liver. That seems inappropriate. A graveyard. Your grave.
Oh, that's a PRS CE 24 in gray black. They're quite nice. Oh, yeah. Hey, you're free to go. Guards.
Yes!
Welcome back to the channel. As always, thank you for watching. I definitely appreciate that. If you're new here, my name is Mike, and I try to make guitar videos where I bring a feature of the guitar or emotional aspect of it to life, because to me, guitar is life. And today we're looking at the PRS CE 24. Now, I've always thought that PRS made some of the most visually striking instruments in the world, and whenever I see those, very figured tops, some of them are just crazy. They always just reminded me of a Rorschach test, which is where I got the idea for that opening scene. And in this video, I'm trying to answer a question. Now, I've been playing guitar very casually for 20-some years. I've known about PRS since the late 90s, so why did it take me so long to get one? Now, the first two reasons are actually quite simple. One, for most of that time, I only played acoustic guitar. I just liked that you could pick one up and start playing. You don't have to plug it into anything. You didn't need pedals, software, amps, none of that stuff. You just grabbed a chunk of wood, held it next to you, and played. That was great. The second reason was simply that I wanted other guitars more. Like when I got into the electric guitar, and I've covered this in other videos, so I'm not going to belabor the point here, but there was only one choice, and that was a Fender Telecaster. That was the guitar I was interested in. That was the guitar that I wanted, and that was the guitar that I bought. Now, the third reason is one that I don't think you'll ever guess in a million years, but it was hugely important to me. And I'm going to get into that into a little bit. But first, let's just go over some of the basic information about this guitar. So the CE24 is a mahogany body with a maple top. And again, just that very striking flame maple. PRS just makes incredibly beautiful instruments. I think that's just all there is to say about it. 8515 pickups with the coil tap, so you can get humbucking and single coil sounds out of it. Three-way switch, volume, tone. Pretty straightforward. The PRS trem system, which works great, stays in tune really, really well. I'm not a big trem user, so that's not wildly important to me. If this was a hardtail, I'd be just as happy with it. It's got a bolt-on maple neck with an Indian rosewood fingerboard, and of course those classic birds coming down. And then the 3x3 headstock, which I know some people really kind of hate on the PRS headstock. I think it looks awesome. And then PRS locking tuners. And the fretboard is a 10-inch radius, which for me is just kind of like right in the sweet spot. I'm more of a chord person than like some, one of those types. So a super flat fingerboard isn't really in the cards for me. In terms of build quality, I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than it's flawless. I mean, there's literally nothing wrong with this guitar. All the, the neck joint to the neck pocket to where everything's laid out. Every switch feels quality. The volume and tone knobs roll, they're smooth. You can split this, it's easy. It's just fantastically built. So let's get into how it sounds. And I'm not gonna do like some major playthrough or whatever. I'm just gonna highlight the differences between the humbucking and the single coil sounds, because I do think that in terms of like splitting the coils, PRS does this better than I think anybody. Like, it sounds really good. Now let's dive into what I think are the pros and cons of the PRS CE 24. I'm going to start with the pros. First, I mentioned this earlier, it is flawless. I mean, the build quality, the fit and finish, the fretwork is incredible. You know, the contours of the body and the balance of the guitar, they're just perfect. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than it kind of dissolves into you and just gets out of your way. And really, what more could you ask? The pattern thin profile is incredible. I think the nut width on this is 1.68, so it's a little bit wider, but it's not super deep on the neck. But I don't really like thin necks, and so the width of this to me is a fantastic balance. It just sits in your hand so well, and that satiny smooth maple, man, it is a joy to play. Number two, the coil tap. Again, I think this is maybe the best out there. You know, PRS does an amazing job, and their attention to detail with sound quality is really incredible, and that comes through a lot. I play this almost entirely in single coil mode. Three, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful instrument. This guitar makes people go, whoa, more than any other that I have, and probably more than any other guitar out there. Like, people just see a PRS, and even if they don't know what it is, they just go, whoa, what is that? Number four, the tuners and the tuning stability. The tuners are so smooth and so precise, and it holds tunes so well. It's such a joy to pick this thing up and just go, I guarantee you it's still in tune, and it always is. Okay, let's jump into the cons. And the first one is that it's beautiful. I know that's a pro, they look amazing, but it's also the one that I'm kind of the most scared to like pick up and play because I don't want to ding it or hit it against anything. You know, if somebody wants to grab it or touch it, I'm like, don't. And so to me, you know, I guess that's a con. The second thing is that, you know, I wish the covers in the back were recessed. You know, my Les Paul Special, which is a lot cheaper, they're recessed. I have an Epiphone SG, which is way cheaper, and they're recessed. Now, maybe they can't because of the width of the body, but I don't know about that. So if they can't do it, then that's one thing. But if they can and they aren't, I mean, does it really cost more to have your CNC machine go like this? I don't know. The third one is that in terms of sound, I'm not totally sure where this guitar sits for me. You know, when it comes to like that humbucker sound, you know, I kind of have that covered already. And most of the time I put this thing into single coil mode and really wish that it was a Strat, because this thing plays incredibly well. And I love that Stratty tone. And it sort of makes me wish that I got a Silver Sky instead. And I'm sure Tony, my primary enabler at Sweetwater, is emailing me links to Silver Sky guitars as we speak. But I just kind of go like, I love the single coil sound out of this, and I love to play it because it's so comfortable and it's such a fantastic, it just like, it plays so nice that I really wish that I could find a Strat that played this well. And so that's where I get a little bit confused and sort of, you know, where does this kind of really sit in the mix for me? And I don't have a great answer for that. But overall, I'm so happy that I own a PRS now, and I want to kind of get into why I finally have one. And the answer is a little bit strange, and that is, from watching interviews with Paul Reed Smith. Now, if you've watched any of those and then you go read the comments, it is just like a flood of, man, what a jerk. What a just pompous jerk. And I'm kind of surprised by that because that's not the response that I get at all. And I think this is why. I work in the advertising and marketing space, and that industry is not short on wild egomaniacs. But here's the deal. That's not always a bad thing. And I don't think it always translates into, man, what a jerk. When I listen or watch Paul's interviews, I don't think, man, what a jerk. I think that is a person who is obsessed with getting what's in here out into the real world. And he's not going to stop at anything to make that happen. He doesn't take shortcuts. He's not going to, you know what I mean? To me, it's more that than like, oh, I'm so amazing. To me, it's just someone who is obsessed with trying to bring something to life. And that I really deeply respect, because some of the people that I've worked with who are like that, you know, they're a little bit quirky and they're kind of weird in person, but man, they do incredible work. And when you're in a room with them, it's so inspiring and it's so exciting because you feel like you're part of something that's being pushed forward. Like I think with PRS, what I love so much about it is that to me, it's kind of like this company that goes, hey, there's more to be had out of these things than trying to get it to sound like something that happened 60 years ago. Like there is a way forward. And rather than just endlessly churning out these things where you go like, hey, buy this one because it sounds like something that happened in 1960. Like I get the vintage appeal. I really do. I love Fender. I love Gibson. I love the sounds of it. I love the history. I totally get wrapped up in that as much as anybody else. But to me, when I pick up a PRS, sometimes I feel like I'm chasing the future rather than always just chasing the past. And that can be a really fun ride too. Does that make sense? Is that a weird reason to buy a guitar? Maybe. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of this guitar, how it sounds? What should I try next? Any of that stuff, please let me know. As always, thank you for watching. Now go play guitar.